Videos have been few and far between. I'm sorry. She's, lacking motivation or something. I don't know. Getting caught in a rut. But, got a little something we threw together for you today. Yeah, we're continuing with the, Unexplained Mysteries while working on a diamond painting and, you know, show you her whips. Okay, hope you enjoy it, and I'll catch you at the end. All right.
Well, hello everybody. It is Friday, June 11th, and I have a 3-day weekend. I am finally getting going, almost 11 o'clock. Jasmine woke me up at like 3:30. Bad dog. And that's become her new routine. She likes to get me up between 3:30 and 4:30 every morning. So I get up and have a couple cups of coffee, and then I usually take a nap around 6:30 until 8:30, and then I took a second nap again today. But anyway, what are we doing? What are we going to do today? So I started my little stitch along with Danette. This is how far I got. I love the colors so far. Well, not so far. This is how far I've gotten so far, but I do love the colors. Very pretty. And I really like the memorabilia with all the beads and the special flosses and stuff. And then right now, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to work on finishing this diamond painting. I want to get that off my desk because not only do I have my new stitch along cross stitch with Danette, but I've also got that beaded cross stitch that I want to finish. So I need to start getting stuff off my desk. And my new work schedule starts this coming week, where I'm working 4 10-hour shifts instead of 5 8-hour shifts. So I'm a little nervous about that as far as 10 hours. But I think what I'll do is I'm gonna just record myself doing this, probably speed it up, and then I will, you know, go over the top and probably talk about something over the top so that I can listen to a podcast while I'm actually doing this. And I don't have a topic to talk about right now. But yeah, let me get you all set up, and I think we're probably going to do the unsolved mysteries. Keep working on that. All right. I'll get y'all set up and we'll go from there. All right, so we are continuing on with the month of May from the Unexplained Mysteries calendar. May 1st, the Little Cajun Saint. Charlene Richard, born in 1947, was diagnosed as a young child with acute lymphatic leukemia and moved into Our Lady of Lourdes Hospital in Lafayette, Louisiana. While she was sick, she often prayed for others, reportedly ignoring her own suffering. She died in 1959 at the age of 12 and was buried in Louisiana. Since then, her grave has become a destination for people suffering from terrible illnesses, most of whom believe that the spirit of Richard, nicknamed Little Cajun Saint, will cure anyone who prays at her grave. In 2017, a woman named Mary Lou Swanson visited Richard's grave while her body was shutting down from limbic encephalitis. After the visit, Swanson, who had been planning her funeral, went into remission. She is one of many who credits her recovery to Charlene Richard. Others are still skeptical, citing a placebo effect, but no definitive scientific reason has been found as to why people's lives seem to improve after visiting the grave of the Little Cajun Saint. May 2nd and 3rd, a Japanese Atlantis. In 1986, a local diver discovered a submerged stone structure off the southern tip of Yanaguni, Jima in Japan, about 75 miles off the coast of Taiwan. Raising 82 feet from the ocean floor is a pyramid, leading many to believe that this is the lost city of Mu, Japan's version of Atlantis, which supposedly sunk into the ocean over 2,000 years ago. On the contrary, Robert Scotch, a professor of science at Boston University, believes the pyramid to be a natural occurrence, claiming that it is basic geology and class stratigraphy for sandstones to break along plains with straight edges, especially in areas with lots of tectonic activity. Marine geologist Masaki Kimiro, however, claims to have identified human influence on the formations, including rudimentary characters and rocks carved to resemble animals. Researchers hope to find more answers about the formations, but the mystery of their true nature and origins continues. May 4th, Bove Islands abandoned the lifeboat. In 1964, British Lieutenant Commander Alan Crawford flew by helicopter to Bove Island, an uninhabited frozen isle between South Africa and Antarctica, and one of the most remote islands in the world. Crawford hoped to study a newly found lagoon. Sorry, Lily just jumped on me and it distracted me. Crawford hoped to study a newly found lagoon. Upon his arrival, he found an abandoned lifeboat floating in the water, which seemed to him to be impossible, since the area was only accessible by air. Upon closer inspection, Crawford noticed that the boat had no motor or markings, and no people or bodies could be found nearby. He decided to keep working on his study and reported the lifeboat. Years later, another team went to conduct research in the lagoon, only to find that the lifeboat was no longer there. It had either disappeared or had been moved. The owner of the lifeboat and the reason for it being in the lagoon remain a mystery. May 5th, the Pollux sisters reborn. On May 5th, 1957, sisters Jacqueline and Joanna Pollux were killed when they were hit by a car on their way to church in Hexham, England. On October 4th, 1958, Florence and John Pollux, parents to the dead sisters, became parents to identical twins Jennifer and Jillian. Two of Jennifer's birthmarks, a thumbprint on her left hip and a spot on her forehead, seemed to be similar to the birthmarks and scars of Jacqueline. When they were 4, the twins started to ask for some of Jacqueline and Joanna's toys by name, toys they had never seen. They were able to talk about locations they had never been to in great detail. One day the twins started talking about the accident that had killed their sisters. Once the twins turned 5, the memories began to fade, and the twins started to act more like separate individuals. Due to the strange occurrences, their parents believed that Jennifer and Jillian might in fact be their older sisters reborn. Though many skeptics scoff at this conclusion, no explanation could be found for the young girls' uncanny behaviors. May 6th, the fatal vision killings. On February 17, 1970, the McDonald family was attacked in their home on Fort Bragg Army Base in North Carolina. Colette McDonald and her daughters Kimberly and Kristen were killed, while Colette's husband, Jeffrey McDonald, was badly injured. Following his recovery, Jeffrey was arrested and convicted of the crimes, but stoutly maintained his innocence. He says that his family was attacked by a group of hippies, 3 women and a man, who were in a drug-fueled rage. He hired author Joe McGinnis to write a true crime book called Fatal Vision to show his innocence, but by the time he finished writing it, McGinnis believed McDonald to be guilty. Recent DNA evidence shows that some hairs at the crime scene did not belong to anyone in the family, but judges say that this is not enough evidence to warrant a retrial. May 7th. Superhenge, Stonehenge, the stone monoliths constructed millennia ago in the English countryside outside of Wiltshire, is perhaps the most readily recognizable ancient mystery in the world. Researchers have only recently begun to understand the purpose and nature of the site, and many have said that they are closing in on a full explanation of its origin. At least, that is, until a team of archaeologists discovered a second massive Superhenge buried only 2 miles from the original. Discovered in 2015 using ground-penetrating radar, Superhenge stands almost 5 times as large as its better-known companion, sporting over 100 individual stone monoliths and evidence of chalk-lined pits previously used to support massive timbers. Experts say that this latest discovery throws into question much of what they've concluded about Stonehenge and its builders, and that Superhenge provides its own mysteries that may take decades to unravel. May 8th, the true first in flight. In 1903, in the small town of Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, the Wright brothers took flight in a plane of their own design, claiming to be the first men to ever succeed in such a feat. To this day, the motto of North Carolina is "First in Flight." Recently, however, new evidence has put that claim into question. Specifically, sources say that in 1901, 2 years prior to the Wright brothers, a German immigrant known as Gustav Whitehead successfully used a plane to rise 150 feet into the air and travel over half a mile over the town of Bridgeport, Connecticut. The event is recounted in a 1901 Connecticut newspaper and is corroborated by respected aviation historians. And yet, institutions such as the Smithsonian still back the Wright brothers' claim as to the first in flight. Many historians assert that the Smithsonian itself struck a deal with the brothers, agreeing to support their claim in exchange for housing their nearly mythic plane. May 9th and 10th, the Princess in the White Tower. In 1483, King Edward IV had just died, and Prince Edward and his younger brother Richard were taken to the Tower of London for the former's coronation as King Edward V, but the accession never occurred. Many historians believe that the boys were likely killed as a political move by their uncle Richard, who ascended to the throne as King Richard III after their disappearance. In 1674, the skeletons of 2 children were found in the White Tower, buried 10 feet under the staircase that led to the chapel. They were believed to have belonged to the 2 young boys, ages 12 and 9, the same ages... They were believed to have belonged to 2 young boys, aged 12 and 9, the same ages as the princes when they disappeared. While it's believed that these bodies are the lost princes, it is unknown what happened to them and how they ended up buried in the tower. The disappearance of the 2 boys is considered one of the greatest mysteries in British history. May 11th, the search for the lost city of Paititi? Paititi. Paititi. Ever since missionary André Lopez wrote to the Vatican about discovering the city of Paititi, the lost city of gold, in southern Peru in 1600, explorers have been searching for it to no avail. This is the same lost city that took the life of explorer Percy Fawcett in 1925. In 1958, a Peruvian explorer led many expeditions and attempts to find Paititi, but came away empty-handed. Bob Nichols, Serge Debreu, and Jorge Paul, 3 members of a French, or I guess it's Georges Paul, if he's French, 3 members of a French-American expedition disappeared while searching in 1971. Many other unsuccessful expeditions have taken place throughout the years. The most recent unsuccessful search occurred in 2016 when Thierry Jamin used helicopters to find the city in a previously unsearched location. To try to find the city in a previously unsearched location. May 12th, the missing Peking man fossils. During an extended archaeological study from 1929 to 1937, researchers discovered 14 partial human craniums, 11 lower jaws, and several teeth, among other parts, in the Peking Man site near Beijing, China. The discovery was significant for scientists because the fossils showed more advanced cranium capacity and general human development than other discoveries at the time. In 1941, this same set of fossils was being analyzed nearby at the Peking Union Medical College. At that time, China was under Japanese occupation, and experts tried desperately to smuggle the discoveries out of China and get them safely to the United States. During the transport, the precious bones were lost, and they've never been recovered. As proof of the discoveries, the scientists had only the plaster casts they had created. Scientists continued searching in the area of the original discovery, and they did find bones and tools similar to the first major discovery. However, those original Peking Man fossils have not resurfaced for modern scientists to analyze and fill gaps in ancient human history. May 13th, Agatha Christie's Lost Days. Agatha Christie, the undisputed queen of mystery, wrote almost 90 novels in her lifetime, as well as a world-famous play and autobiography, which makes it appropriate that the writer had a fair bit of mystery in her own life. On December 3rd, 1926, Agatha Christie left home in her Morris Crowley motorcar and disappeared for nearly 2 weeks. Though the car was found abandoned the next morning, there was no clue as to where Christie had gone. 11 days later, she was spotted in a hotel in Harrogate, Yorkshire, 200 miles away from home. She had reserved her room as a South African woman named Mrs. Teresa Neal, and it is said that she did not respond to her real name. Many people believe that Christie disappeared to try to stop her husband from leaving her, while others believe that she was actually trying to leave him. In addition to why she disappeared, what happened to Christie during those lost days is not known, and she went to her grave without ever having explained her disappearance. May 14th, Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu, the great Incan ruins of Cuzco, Peru, may be an ancient wonder, but the reason for its existence is still unknown. No information exists about Machu Picchu before it was discovered in 1911, making it very hard to tell what its purpose was. While it is believed to have been built and used mainly by the Incans, evidence shows that different groups of people with different traditions all used the pyramid. The structure, built around 1450, was believed to have been relatively small, housing only 500 to 750 people, meaning that the majority of the population would have had to live and work in the surrounding lands. Archaeologists continue to research the area and excavate in hopes of finding answers to their questions. May 15th. The disappearance of Frederick Valentich. Valentich? Valentich. Valentich. I don't know. 20-year-old pilot Frederick Valentich was flying a Cessna plane over the Bass Strait in Australia in October 1978 when he disappeared. Right before he lost contact, he reported to air traffic control that an object was hovering near him but was not an aircraft. Air traffic controllers who communicated with Valentich during his flight reported that nothing seemed strange or disingenuous about the young man's transmissions. Strangely, the pilot's disappearance came close on the heels of his accessing confidential documents from the Royal Australian Air Force about UFO reports. Additionally, although a large, thorough search was carried out, no traces of either the young man or his plane were ever found, and authorities have never commented on what might have been following Valentich on his solo flight across the Bass Strait. May 16th and 17th, Greek fire. The ancient Greeks are to thank for many of the world's greatest inventions: Western philosophy, cartography, democracy, and even war. One of their most infamous and mysterious weapons for war was Greek fire. Invented by the Byzantine Greeks during the 6th century, Greek fire was feared by enemies near and far for its ability to burn seemingly anything, even the water used to douse it. Byzantine forces utilized the liquid primarily during sea battles, using handheld flamethrowers and hand grenades to set enemy ships ablaze. The liquid was so powerful and bizarre that, to this day, chemists and historians have failed to recreate its formula. While most experts agree that Greek fire was likely petroleum-based, very little is agreed upon beyond that, and historians struggle to explain how the Byzantines could have developed such an advanced, vicious weapon. May 18th. Little Miss Lake Panasoffkee, Panasoffkee, Little Miss Panasoffkee. The body of an unidentified woman was found on February 19, 1971, floating beneath the Interstate 75 bridge on the edge of Lake Panasoffkee in Florida. The medical examiner believed that she had been strangled to death and dumped into the water more than 30 days before she was found. Those investigating the case of the Jane Doe, known as Little Miss Lake Panasoffkee, I'm thinking I've heard this lake name and that I'm saying it completely wrong, but we're going to keep moving. Okay. Those investigating the case of Jane Doe, known as Little Miss... Those investigating the case of the Jane Doe, known as Little Miss Lake Panasoffkee, had no leads or even the name of the victim for 3 decades until forensic anthropologist Aaron Kimmerly was able to use technology to get some answers. Studying particles in the victim's teeth, Kimmerly determined that the woman was between 17 and 24 years old and from a small fishing town in Greece. Investigators believe the woman was from a large Greek community in Tarpon Springs and that she died in the weeks after Epiphany, a large Greek Orthodox celebration held in the community. Even with this new information, the victim's identity and what exactly happened to her are all still a mystery. Tarpon Springs isn't too far from here. Maybe 45 minutes? All right, May 19th. Queensland's floating lights. Of all the world's unexplained light phenomenon, Queensland's Min Min lights may have the oldest documented record, first reported to Australian officials in 1918, but with sightings dating back as much further in indigenous Australian cultures. Min Min lights occur in the skies near the town of Boulia in northeastern Australia. Many myths surround the lights, but some native peoples believing them to be spirits eager to snatch up unsuspecting villagers who wander near. Other theorists have sought to explain the lights as well, proposing that the fluorescent gas or even insects may be to blame. Most recently, a group of scientists who originally spotted the lights while searching for a rare Australian bird suggested that the lights may be what's known as a Fata Morgana mirage. This mirage, typically seen when ground-level air temperature is cooler than that above, reflects light over very long distances, creating illusory effects without a readily apparent cause. Despite these theories, insufficient testing has been done to conclusively prove the light's origins, and the Min Min lights remain a mystery for the people of Boulia. All right, May 20th, lost Confederate gold. By the beginning of 1865, U.S. Confederate forces, led by President Jefferson Davis, were well on their way to an eventual eventual defeat at the hands of the Union Army. And though the battles that would seal the Confederacy's fate have been extensively documented, throughout the country's history, many mysteries about the Civil War exist. Chief amongst them, perhaps, is the legend of the lost Confederate gold. Historians believe that when Jefferson Davis fled south in April 1865, he carried with him a fortune in silver and gold coins, a sizable chunk of the Confederate war chest. Strangely, when Davis was met by Union forces in Georgia only a few short weeks later, the rebel president carried only a scant few dollars worth of currency. There was no sign of the Confederate hoard he was rumored to have taken from Richmond, Virginia, and neither Davis nor his officers would say a useful word on the subject. To this day, historians debate the existence of Confederate gold and, if it does exist, where it might still rest, hidden from the world. May 21st, the lead mask case. On August 20th, 1966, a young man at a park in near Torre, Rio de Janeiro, found the bodies of two men. Strangely, the corpses were both wearing waterproof coats over suits and lead masks on their faces. Authorities announced that a note was found with one of the men which read, 1630, be at agreed place, 1830, swallow capsules. After effect, protect metals, wait for mask signal. Despite further investigation into the bizarre case, all that is known about the men is their names, Manuel Pereira de Cruz and Miguel Jose Viana, and that they had boarded a bus to Niterio, I can't say it, Niterio, Niteroi. I said it with confidence at the beginning. 3 days before. Witnesses reported that the pair had stopped to get water at a bar and that they had seemed nervous and highly aware of the time. The men's causes of death were never officially reported, nor was the explanation of their dress and masks ever given by authorities. May 22nd, medieval porpoise burial. In 2017, archaeologists came across something surprising while excavating a medieval monastic retreat on Guernsey, an island between England and France. I'm sure I said it wrong. Researchers discovered a grave containing the skull and shoulder bones of a porpoise found in a plot similar to ones where human remains were buried. Despite the bizarre and unexpected nature of their find, archaeologists believe that the porpoise bones may have been used as part of a religious ceremony. A competing theory states that monks may have been storing the porpoise for later consumption, as the animal's meat was considered a delicacy in medieval times. No clear answer has yet been found, but archaeologists hope that lab tests will reveal the date when the porpoise was buried, as well as determine if the meat had been salted, which could prove that it was intended as food. May 23rd and 24th, Florida's Coral Castle. Miami, Florida is home to its own peculiar wonder of the world, the Coral Castle, a structure built entirely out of 1,100 tons of local coral rock by a single person, Edward Leedskelnin, a love-struck Latvian man, constructed the castle as a monument to the woman he loved who did not love him back. Leedskelnin was a tiny man, measuring only 5 feet tall and weighing barely 100 pounds. Despite this, Edward secretly built the impressive structure, mostly at night, by cutting large blocks of coral using only simple hand tools and then moving them almost 10 miles to the castle's construction site. Historians still debate how he moved the heavy blocks of coral or carved them by himself, but Leedskalnin himself refused to answer any questions about the structure. Today, the coral castle is open to visitors as a museum, and Leedskalnin's handiwork is on display for everyone to see. May 25th, the ghost ship Marie Celeste. It was December 5th, 1872, when the crew of the De Gracia, a British ship, spotted a strange vessel adrift off the coast of the Azores near Portugal. When they drew closer, the Gratias, I wonder if it's Gracias, Gratias, captain recognized the other vessel as the Marie Celeste. Mary Celeste. Mary? Oh my god, I've completely botched this. When they drew closer, the Gratias captain recognized the other vessel as the Marie Celeste, which had left New York City 8 days earlier on its way to Europe. When they received no responses to their hails, a boarding party went to explore the ship only to find that the Marie Celeste was deserted. Reports say that the crewmen's belongings were still in their places, and even the ship's 6-month food supply was untouched. The only evidence of foul play was a single missing life raft and the state of disarray of the ship's charts. Though the Marie Celeste was in fine shape mechanically, its crew had disappeared, never to be seen again. Theories for the disappearance ranged from pirate attacks to a full mutiny, but no explanation was ever found. May 26th, the death of a boxing champ. On January 5th, 1971, famed boxer Sonny Liston's wife arrived at their Las Vegas home after a week away to find her husband's dead body. After a routine police investigation, Liston's cause of death was believed to be a heroin overdose. Officials say that toward the end of his life, Liston spent much of his time in the Keno Lounge at the Las Vegas International Hotel, where he sold cocaine. Many believe that this connection to drugs was his downfall, but not in the way police had stated. Historians and people acquainted with Liston's situation question whether the boxer's past connections with mob organizations may have led to his death, while others believe his overdose was staged by a Las Vegas police officer who had had altercations with Liston in the past. The truth is still unknown, and the tragic case was detailed in the book The Murder of Sonny Liston by Sean Asile. May 27th. The staircase in the Laredo Chapel. In 1878, the Laredo Chapel was built in Santa Fe, New Mexico, but the architect died before completing or even writing plans for a staircase to the choir loft. Many different carpenters were asked to design a staircase to access the loft 22 feet above, but each said that the space was too small and would need a ladder. According to the church, one day a mysterious carpenter appeared with a toolbox and donkey. He built a beautiful and elegant circular staircase and then disappeared before he could be paid or thanked. A search for the man was unsuccessful, even after ads were placed in the local newspaper, and some faithful believe it was Saint Joseph, the patron saint of carpenters, answering their prayers. The mysterious staircase can still be found in the Laredo Chapel. May 28th. Radio bursts from space. First discovered by astronomers in 2012, fast radio bursts have confounded the scientific community for years. These mysterious radio waves have been determined to originate from an object some 3 billion light years away, known as FRB 121102. Scientists discovered that the waves come with a strong magnetic field, suggesting that they originate from a galaxy with a strong magnetic source. Though there are many competing theories on the cause of these unique waves, from rogue black holes to alien technologies, precious little data has been gathered about the distant phenomenon. And while no concrete explanations exist about the source of the bursts, they allow scientists to get a better idea of what unseen galaxies may contain in their depths. May 29th, the Roman 9th Legion. Sometime in the early 2nd century, the Roman 9th Legion, an army made up of 5,000 of Rome's finest soldiers, disappeared. Though English historians have largely theorized that the Legion was set upon and wiped out by a British ambush, many others question whether or not the Roman 9th Legion's demise was of a British nature at all. Some believe that the army left England and went to the Middle East, where they were destroyed by the Prussian army. Others say that they went to the Netherlands, using as proof the tiles found in the Netherlands bearing the symbol of the 9th, though these tiles are older than the disappearance and thought to be part of earlier Roman history. Despite massive public interest, most of it spawned by the classic bestseller on the topic Eagle of the Ninth, no hard evidence has ever been recovered as to the fate of the 5,000 of Rome's finest, and their final resting place remains a mystery to this day. May 30th and 31st. Thank goodness. I've got some serious dry mouth going. Hazel Drew, the inspiration for Twin Peaks. 20-year-old Hazel Drew was last seen by witnesses wandering down Tiburton Road near Sand Lake Resort in upstate New York on July 7, 1908. 4 days later, her body was found floating in nearby Teal's Pond. Authorities stated that the young woman had been hit in the back of the head with a blunt object, killing her. Even with a lengthy police investigation, the mystery of Drew's death went unsolved, but her story stuck with the locals for many years. Mark Frost, co-creator of the TV show Twin Peaks, spent his summers growing up in Tiburton, New York, where his grandmother would tell him the story of Hazel Drew as a cautionary tale of why one should never go out alone at night. Frost has stated in interviews that the lack of answers about Drew's murder acted as his inspiration for the Twin Peaks character Laura Palmer. Okay, I seriously need a beverage. Okay. Well, that was the month of May for Unexplained Mysteries. Now, back to whatever the hell she's doing. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I finally finished the painting, and I absolutely love it. This one is Diamond Art Club's Cloud Runner. And now I have to find a spot for it. I'm running out of room. I might have to get a ladder out, move a few things around, put that over there, or move it and put it, I don't know, we'll figure it out. But I might try to start on the that pill bottle project. We'll see. I'm feeling pretty lazy, but hope you're all having a great weekend. Love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Well, I hope you got a lot done on your whip. I know she did. So another one in the completed pile. Gonna have to go get some frames pretty soon, because got a half a dozen or so to frame. But yeah. Okay. That's all. We're really running out of stuff to talk about, because we don't get out much, and that rut is getting deep. Okay. Love you guys. Bye!